today's webinar. Recording. Okay, welcome to today's webinar. We're just going to give everyone a few minutes to get logged in and then we will get started. Um, maybe start with asking everybody where you're coming in from. Feel free to leave it in the chat. Wayne's, where did you say you were?
Um, I
Oh,
I'm in Tonga,
oh my goodness, what time of day is it
which
there?
is uh early. I don't dare to say. I just woke
Oh,
up, guys, so I didn't
okay.
have my morning coffee yet. So,
Okay.
but it is about 6 a.m. and
Uh,
it's very remote where I am. Worked really
oh,
hard on the internet, so I think it's pretty
good.
stable. So
It's
that's
good, good,
good.
it's good.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Great. Well,
I'm actually calling from the future. For you, it's
okay. Oh,
still the
there's, yes.
20th, and for me, it's the 21st. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's from the future. That explains some of that stuff earlier. You got people from all over here, like Trinidad, Toronto, Ontario, Texas, all over. So we're
Any
just like,
Europeans?
haven't, oh,
It's late
Trinidad.
for them. Mhm.
So we're just giving everybody a couple minutes to log in here and get before we get started. Um, we asking where, oh, Finland. We were just asking where everybody's coming in
Yay!
from. We're from all over here.
Nice.
The Europeans. Muskoka. Oh, that's beautiful this time of year. South Africa. Oh, all sorts of time
Nice.
zones here, boy. Oh
Yeah, yeah.
boy. I'll just give them a few more minutes to get everybody to get logged on and then we can get started. Just kind of asking where everybody's coming in from. Just we got all sorts coming all over this great place. And the question today is fully automated records management possible? Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm a I'm a very optimistic person, Shelley.
Yes, okay. Well, I might be, I'll have an open mind, but I got questions.
Good, good. Well, I do think that the industry is moving closer. Yeah.
Well,
So I think
that's
that's good.
that's just the
Yeah.
past 3 months. You can't keep up with some of the tech stuff going on out there. So,
Yeah. That's it.
all right. Well, we better get you started. You got lots of answering to do in the next hour. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Shelley Smith, one of the ARMA board directors, and I'm coming to you today from Winnipeg, Canada, right in the middle of North America. So, I'm right Central Time. It's just after lunchtime for me. And I'll be your moderator for this afternoon session. So, welcome back to the third session in our retention automation series. And this one today is one retention schedule, multiple systems. Is fully automated records management possible? And this is presented to you today by Filers Keepers. So before we begin, I just want to extend a thank you to our ARMA members for joining us today. From online education to professional resources and networking, ARMA is committed to empowering your journey in information governance. So if you're not yet a member, I encourage you to visit arma.org to explore the full range of education, certification, and community benefits. All right, change the slide. And before we continue, we'd love to invite you to take the next steps and join us at InfoCon 2026. It's an incredible opportunity to connect in person, explore fresh ideas, learn from industry leaders, and build on the conversations we've started throughout this webinar series. So plus, all four of our series sponsors will be there. Oh, Wayne's going to be there. Awesome. Giving you even more opportunities to connect, ask questions, and discover new solutions. So don't miss out. Register for InfoCon today, and we'll see you there. Also, advanced pricing is available through the end of the month. So if you haven't already registered, be sure to take advantage of the current rates before they increase in September. Um, oh, this is the back to school one. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Bef-
sorry.
Before we get started, we'd like to invite you to take a quick look at the audio and live transcript settings available in your Zoom toolbar to help you get the most out of today's session. So we always encourage you to submit your questions through the program using the Q&A feature. It's the best way to make sure your questions are seen and addressed by our team. And the chat is a great space to introduce yourself and share your thoughts, experience, and connect with fellow professionals. But since conversations in the chat sometimes move really quickly, using the Q&A for questions helps us to respond more effectively during the session. And we're excited to have you here and look forward to lively and engaging discussions today. We also love the reactions feature. If you hear something you like that blows your mind, please use the reactions to let us know. And this is always the favorite question. So before anybody asks it, will today's webinar be recorded? And the answer is yes. As a professional member, you'll have access to both the recordings and the presentation slides. But since this is part of a series, there's no need to keep track of multiple links. Just simply return using the same event link you used to join today. As the recordings and material becomes available, they'll be posted there and remain accessible throughout the series. So if you miss a moment, need a refresher, or want to revisit your favorite takeaways, we've got you covered. Okay, next slide. Thanks to our sponsors. Before we move on, we'd like to give a special thank you to the series sponsors, Access, Moray, filerskeepers, and Cadence Solutions. So these organizations are more than just sponsors. They are our trusted partners, helping information governance professionals build stronger, more effective programs. And their solutions and expertise helps organizations build and strengthens information governance programs every day. So when you're looking for your next partner solution, we encourage you to consider the companies that support our community. Okay, do we have the back to school sale? What?
Oh, sorry. This one. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Sorry.
Okay, so before we get started, I have a quick challenge for everyone. Just think about one skill, certification, or knowledge area you'd like to strengthen this year. Maybe it's information governance fundamentals, records management, IGP preparation, or just expanding your expertise in a new area. PMP, awesome, CIGO, AI. If professional development is on your radar, ARMA's back to school sale is happening now with 30% off many of our most popular learning resources, including certificate programs, the IG Mastery webinar series, IGP prep, materials, study guides, and more. And so let's be honest, back to school isn't just for students. The best IG professionals are always learning. And if you've been waiting for the right time to invest in yourself, this is a great opportunity. So use code SCHOOL26 through September 21st to save 30%, and you can find details in the chat. So happy learnings. And so with that, I'm ready to turn it over to you, Wayne.
All right. Thank you, Shelly. Sorry for messing up your
Oh.
whole flow. It's still early morning, like I said. Hey, everyone. I'm Wanne Pemelaar. I'm the CEO and co-founder for Filerskeepers, and also another company called Lostronaut. And I will shamelessly make some advertisement for that company in a minute. But before that, I mentioned I'm in Tonga. If people are wondering where that is, it is a teeny tiny little island group. I'm actually in one of the northern islands, and doing some whale watching, swimming with whales. The whales come from Antarctica, and they come to Tonga every year for a few months. And there are some channels there where they all come together. They make their babies, get their babies, nurse their babies there, because it is protected and it is warm there. So yeah, it's just an amazing experience for my family. I'm really proud of my 6-year-old who went into the water yesterday with rough seas, waves of 3 to 5 meters high, and she just went in together with her mom to see the whale. So that was super cool. All right, so praying that the internet holds up here. Let's get started. Just for those of you who don't know filerskeepers, what we do is we read all the laws in the world, and then we take from their rules to tell companies how long they should store their records and data, and then we help apply those rules to the records and data of our clients. We are going to be 10 years old soon. And we have almost 360 jurisdictions online, 362,000 retention periods, always growing. Legislators are creating more laws. Yeah, we will track them. And we have a dashboard where you can build a retention schedule. And it's, by the way, looking a lot cooler now than when where we started. And yeah, more and more AI is coming in, and a lot of people are wondering, okay, so how does Finders Keepers keep all those retention periods so fresh, and how do you do it? Well, first of all, we have a really big in-house team of lawyers, and with the onset of AI, I did not fire them, and I think that was a smart move, because token costs are rising. But we do need to keep track of all those laws and all the changes. So the human effort has proven to be too much. So we created a crawler to crawl actually government portals to find new laws and everything. And that crawler has turned into a business. So we have another company called Lawstronaut, and how I describe Lawstronaut is kind of like, for those of you who used to be law practitioners, making long hours at the law firm, getting the most impossible questions from your clients to figure out, and you were just like, deadline is tomorrow. I don't have my answer. Reading the books, reading the databases, and then that moment when you finally figured it out. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to go for with this company. So what we do actually is we crawl the internet. We go for all the public sources, all the government sources, and we take from there all the legal documents. So we're talking about laws, acts, regulations, court cases. We're also talking about regulatory guidance. I think that's a topic that's largely overlooked by a lot of content providers. That a lot of people are looking at what is the privacy regulator saying, and the competition authority, and the IRS, and all of that. So we take everything, and sometimes also just news by the government, and we put that in one big ginormous database. And we have APIs and MCPs that help you connect to that database. So your AI has up to date knowledge and doesn't just vibe code its way through life, basically. And we crawl every single day. So when the law changes, we'll have the update. So you don't have to worry about that either. Now, why is that innovative? Law isn't built for software, to be honest. 70 to 80% of all legal publications in the world is still in PDF. Can you imagine? So, like legislatures, what they do is they just work in Word, and then they are done, and then they click print PDF, and then they put it on the website. That's how lazy they are. And you need to actually need to parse those PDFs. So we have 54 million legal documents and counting. We're adding every single day, internationally, US, but also internationally, like we did with filerskeepers. And making that usable. Everybody can build a crawler, but it is a serious infrastructure that we built, because you need to crawl OCR. And let's say AWS, who we use for our infrastructure, is very happy with us. And then a lot of people get stuck in maintaining that pipeline. So everybody can build a few artisanal crawlers, and then just get stuck the moment that the HTML changes, and that happens all the time. So that's why we build a pipeline where you can get structured, current, traceable legal data. And Filers Keepers uses that data itself. Yeah. So Filers Keepers is the biggest customer of Lawstronaut in a way. And I'm also very, very proud that we got accepted into the Claude Code for Legal, the base. and also ChatGPT. I just heard got approved. We're working on Gemini. We're working on Copilot, of course. So that's all coming. So we are an official app in Claude. So you can just literally click and add us there. Yeah. So if you want to check it out, it's not even that expensive, guys. All right. So let's get started with the actual topic of today. Sorry for that. Um, you know, we are of course always thinking about how to implement that schedule. At least I hope that that's what you're thinking about. I hope that the industry and the folks in this series have already gotten you so confident that you're actually not worrying about your schedule, but you're worrying about the implementation. And of course, and I always start with this, but the stakes have, fundamentally been changed by, the GDPR. And I showed it Titanic, and I'm sorry, we put a bar over the iceberg, but it is an iceberg, and it has the stars of the European Union. Um, but everything was well until the GDPR came because it, changed the whole ball game, the fines, everything, and it has this ginormous ripple effect throughout the world. Privacy laws are popping up everywhere, including in your country. It just changed everything, and the GDPR was really meant for real compliance. Yeah, so that's something that they kept the legislature kept stressing over and over and over. We want real compliance. So we're seeing a lot of interesting things happening. Of course, when you think about privacy law, you think about don't keep data too long, right? It needs to go at one point. Well, there's a very interesting case this year by the Spanish regulator that enforced a hospital accidentally deleting some x-rays of a patient 1 month after it happened. So that's the world upside down. You would say there would be like a health regulator, to enforce that one. No, it was actually the Spanish Data Protection Authority that said having data on someone ensures their fair treatment. And that's what privacy law is about, guys. It's not hiding secrets. It's actually treating people fairly, yeah, with the knowledge that you have on them. So the Spanish regulator, I had a slide that didn't include it. I'm so sorry. So I'll just talk from memory here, but stated that in order to treat someone fairly, you sometimes have to have the data on that person. Can you imagine you have a license to build an extension to your house and you go to your local county or municipality or whatever it's called, and they go like, sorry, I have no record of that, you would also feel badly, of course. So real compliance. So the rules are getting more stringent, and the rules are increasing everywhere. Our database is growing, and then comes AI. And if the whole privacy law wave didn't do it, then AI will do it, because AI suddenly creates this exponential hike in the creation of data and information. So it does all the time, and it does at a speed that we've never seen. And everybody always thinks that compute is the limiting factor of AI. It isn't, guys. It's energy. Energy is the cap on AI right now. So we can get heavier, machines. We can have, more advanced and bigger models. But the cap is on energy, and that's why the price is going up, because there isn't coming any new energy at the moment. It's the developments in compute and in the models is outpacing, what we can add in terms of energy at this moment. And the one that will win. Yeah. So can be China, because they're adding, what is it, 150 nuclear stations in the unforeseeable future, or it can be the US with Elon Musk shooting those rockets into the air and beaming back almost free. AI, yeah. So this is the thing. But AI demands data. It needs data to train. I don't know if you've seen in the news, but there are actually a lot the antiquarians and the secondhand book dealers are doing really great business, but they're also worried because the big tech companies are buying up books, thousands of them, millions of them, and they're scanning them and they're using it to train on AI. But that also means that they cut up the books, yeah? They take off the backs of the books and they scan them and then discard the books. So also a lot of really rare editions are gonna be lost. So people are really, really worried about that. Yeah. But that's what happens. It demands data, it creates data. And I would say that, RIM is mission critical in the age of AI. And we've been saying that to ourselves for a while now, maybe a year. Like, oh, that's us, because AI, machine learning, needs clean, classified, structured, governed, trustworthy data. Okay, good. You're right. So, are you involved in that conversation then? That's the question. And I'm afraid, but you have to be in the room. You have to be with the AI governance people, with the AI folks. If you're not, you're losing out. And it could be impactful to your career. I'm sorry. Because this is what's happening. Yeah. They're figuring out right now that their co-pilot isn't broken, but the records are. Yeah. So there's orphan content. There's, issues with ROT. There's issues with the information architecture. The sources are noisy. They start to realize it. Yeah. And what you don't want is that you're suddenly being helped. Yeah. By someone else. That suddenly, your colleagues, wherever they're from. Yeah. Maybe they are the AI team. Maybe they are just a random colleague using AI. And they say, yeah, we've fixed records, we've fixed RIM. And you go, what? Sorry? And you're like, yeah, no. I just, have all our documents organized. And we deleted everything that wasn't necessary. And you'll see that the AI did a pretty good job. Yeah. And you'll be amazed. You'll be like, whoa, where did that come from? It's near perfect. You're gonna look into it. It's absolutely not perfect, because where AI will do probably 80% well, 20%, and that's on the lower end, I think, of the spectrum, what I think, but 20% will be completely messed up. Yeah. And so the 80% makes you look bad, guys, because it's like, oh yeah, we fixed overnight and what you didn't fix for decades. Yeah. But the 20% also makes you look bad, because it goes like, yeah, why didn't you stop us? Or why didn't you fix it yourself before we had to? Yeah. So that's where I'm worried sometimes for the IG people, RIM people. Like, okay, maybe we need to really, really assert our influence, not our power, but our influence in this whole process. If you play your cards well, you could be the chief in a few years. That's what I saw with all the privacy professionals at one point. If you position yourself well in this, you'll become the boss managing this. Yeah. So the original three problems when it comes to records retention is you start with not knowing what the law says. Yeah, that's where a lot of big companies, whether you are like a big player in your state or a domestic player in the US or Canada, or whether you are an international multinational, It's hard to keep track of all the laws. And then once you do know the law, what do you choose? Because the laws are conflicting and there are just so many, you can't comply with everything. And then it's like not knowing where to start. Yeah, with your implementation. Hard copy, digital, global, local, cloud, on-premise, structured, unstructured, current, legacy. There's so many challenges that you have to, and for each of these that I mentioned, you need a different kind of team or a different kind of setup, basically. Because if it's a local system, no need to put a global team on it. Yeah, then it's the local team that needs to drive, and it's the global team that needs to facilitate, and teach how to do it. But it's the local team that knows their content, their data. Um, and no, you cannot vibe code your way out of records management in a way. Yeah. First of all, the token economics do not work yet. Yeah. So can you imagine how many terabyte or petabyte do you have? And just running that through AI and expecting a good outcome without too much supervision is just illusory. And yeah, I would say um, it's the tokens are just too expensive at the moment to do that really properly. Retention is a legal research problem. It's not just a coding problem. Um,
Could you
so yeah, go ahead.
let us
Yeah.
know what vibe code means?
Okay, so vibe code is literally when you don't have a lot of knowledge about software development, and you're just saying to the AI, "Hey, build me a script that classifies and cleans up all my records," for example.
Oh,
It can
okay.
be anything. You can literally say, "Build me a fun little game that I'm going to publish on Apple App Store," right?
Oh,
But in this case, in our context, I would say, "Build me a script, build me a software that actually solves, the unstructured nature of our databases and everything, and decide, when something should go." But also, vibe code in this context also mean vibe code a retention schedule. You know, just build me a retention schedule. I'm just asking ChatGPT. I'm in these countries. What do you think the data is that I have? And
hmm
it will do a pretty good job. And you can use it to figure out small questions. But the overall context, and that's what we see, and we're using a lot of AI, guys. Yeah. We're using the crawlers. We're getting the data in. We're running the AI. And I absolutely need my 25 to 30 people that are all on this full-time lawyers checking everything, because it goes wrong so much, because you cannot ask AI is built to preserve energy, and as long as it is built to preserve energy, it will cut corners. So what we see sometimes, it's horrible, but what we see sometimes is it cannot read all the laws. So it will truncate the law, meaning I will take the first 20 words of a clause and then I stop. I'm not kidding. And then I just predict what was in the other, I don't know, 200 words. Yeah. So and then it goes horribly wrong, because it kind of gets the point of the clause, but then it goes, oh yeah, it's 3 years, but it is not. It is 10 years. It says so in the law. Yeah, we're seeing all of this. You can only do this if you do very small chunks, and it's a very very expensive exercise. And then, yeah, the hard part is the data model itself. It doesn't understand your business that well. And I believe that records management requires governance and accountability, unless we're all ready to let the computers rule us. Yeah. But I believe, we want to be in control. Yeah. Um, so let's be honest. This is how we started. We wanted to fix records retention once and for all. That's our original slogan. And I still wanna do that. So promise sounded simple. We know the rule, make the answer clear. How long do you need to keep it? When does the clock start? And then you keep the record while it's needed, but you delete it when the time is up. Yeah, very simple. We thought we'll just give you the schedule. Schedule is up to date. When the law changes, will send you a ping. You can accept or decline, and everybody's happy. And then we met the real world, yeah, because our clients were asking, "Hey, can you help us implement a retention schedule?" Um, and what we saw is that a lot of those projects stopped when the retention schedule was done. It's like, yay, we got the retention schedule. It's sometimes like I feel like it's almost like signing an NDA in a business deal. Sometimes people are so negotiating the NDA, and then when the NDA is done, like, what was the deal about actually? Yeah. So then they forget. Um, but the records that you have live everywhere, right? HR, finance systems, boxes, warehouses, old applications, shared drives, collaboration sites. That's unstructured. Um, and everything is different. The answer is different for every single system. Different structures, different dates, different owners, different ways to delete. Um, and you should have one policy that meets many realities. Yeah, and that's possible. I mean, I think we're pretty there yet. I would hope. Um, so I would pose the retention schedule is no longer the missing piece. Well, I must say, between Axis, Iron Mountain, Zazio, and us, and a few others, I don't think we have, what is it, 200,000 listed companies as our client. We don't have, um, what is it, 3, 4 million multinational companies in this world. So I still think there's a lot of companies running without a schedule or vibe coding it. But yeah, I do think that we could say that ARMA members, let's put it that way, by and large have a retention schedule. So, but what we uncovered, of course, is that the system can't always use those schedules, and we don't always know which event started the clock within the system, because the you know schedule is a beautiful construct, but then computer says no. So what's missing is a translation piece between the system and the schedule. That's what I believe. um, and yeah, I mean, we also did some research, of course, over the years, and I believe the science of not implementing a retention schedule is, you can pose the rules to people, but then the people decide what the rule means. And I can take it very literal. I have a few experiences in Brazil where people actually tell me, like, the law says 10 years. Yes, but that's not what we do. And you go, what? And it's like, everybody knows in Brazil that it is 12 years. And then is that, court decision? No, but everybody knows. But also within companies, of course, you make your own judgment calls, and we can tell you, hey, the regulator of this country you're in wants you to keep it maximum 3 years, and then companies will decide otherwise because they have a different risk appetite. So, and processes decide who approves, and then technology decides what's possible, and everything gets kind of strapped into a budget. And if the budget doesn't allow, nothing is going to happen. And if people are not feeling the schedule, nothing is going to happen. You can be super duper proud of your schedule. Maybe you build a golden Maserati of a schedule. If the business isn't feeling it, then nothing gets implemented. And we need to make controls out of those rules. Yeah, we need to start finding those records, see the starting event, take safe action, show what happens. It's a socio-technical problem. And it can be done. So how do we go from this to something looking like this? Add systems to your governance program and make it a bit more fun, guys. So if you were to start adding, systems to an inventory, and you would want to start mitigating them, then let's not start with all of your systems. Let's choose what kind of angle we want to start with. Yeah, high risk systems. Those are I want to start fixing first. Yeah. So that leads to um, a little announcement. We are shifting within FK filerskeepers to not just building retention schedules, but also we're going to focus a whole lot more on the implementation of that. Yeah, I feel that privacy professionals have their one trust, although everybody's moving away. But um, compliance folks have Archer. Legal has their Claude for Legal or Harvey or whatever it is. But I feel that RIM should also have a, RIM program governance tool. Yeah, and that's what we're setting out to build. And we think that we can live in this ecosystem. We think that there is space you will have a system for legal holds, you will have a system for managing data itself, but we do believe that there is one thing missing, and that's actually pushing the program forward, giving RIM professionals also something where they can show an audit report or progress report to their leadership, and just run a report. Look, we fixed 70% of our systems. These are the residual risks that we need to make a decision on, so that you have proper controls in place. Yeah. So what would that largely look like? And I'll talk largely conceptually because I don't want to do a whole product demo or anything. You have to reach out to me, to us for that. But I just wanted to kind of walk you through kind of like the mechanics at this moment. And we're still building it in for some part, so it's gonna be something that we gradually build out over the next few months and years. But we want to be that control panel, yeah, for information governance and turning those retention schedules into continuously enforced auditable programs across systems. And when I say systems, I mean a few things, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So you need to keep it. Why keep it? How long? Where? And you need to map it. What and when? And then you need to have controls, actions, and proof that it happened. Yeah. And it's continuous. It seems like this is like one-way street to success. I'm afraid this is a cycle. This is a loop. Because systems change, laws change. Yeah. So while everything changes, you need to kind of go over and over. And there will be a lot of AI assisting you, but I really, really believe that it's the human being that needs to be in control and needs to make the decisions. That's, for as long as I'm alive, that's what I'm going to try and do. So, there are a few questions you need to answer yourself, like which system holds the official record? And I always say start small. Yeah. So we don't need to start, going after your hundreds or thousands of systems that you're using. I think you can already make a huge impact if you just take your top 5 systems. Yeah. I think that would already have a huge impact. And also I think the how question is very important. Like, are you going to automatically solve this, assisted or manually? And what proves it? What are the checks and approvals and actions that you need to document in order to prove to regulators, to internal stakeholders that you're in control? If one of these things is missing, I believe you don't have a proper governance set up. Yeah. If you are doing all that wonderful work, but you can't prove it to your leadership or to any stakeholder, it is kind of for nothing. How do we start with building that? We first start with a retention to system mapping. Yeah. So where we actually kind of document what system exists, what's the prioritization. So we guide you, assisted. Like, we think, given the fact of the description you gave us of the system, or that we are able to pull from the system itself, we think that this system should be handled first. You can adjust that, of course, and then you can start mapping those the schedule to the system, and we will see the few gaps that will arise as soon as you do. Yeah, so there are challenges, of course, down the road that we're trying to solve with you. And then, of course, we want to check for controls and drift alerts. That's still in the making. Exception approval workflows, and of course, evidence spec. Yeah, so that's kind of like going to be the first generation of this. And then from there, we love your user feedback, and we'll keep building. One of the questions that you will have to answer yourself that we provide, a panel for a menu, so to say, is like what level are you going to map to? Yeah, are you going to map the whole system, like this whole system, 10 years, any data that's in there, 10 years, or are you going to go for module or container? Yeah, so of course, SAP has success factors, but you also have HCM and you also have ERP and so there's a lot of things. Are you going to do it at that level? Or are you going to go on the business object level? Yeah, and that's the deepest level. It's actually a combination of data fields that become together a manageable object that you can actually create filters for and purge at one point. And we kind of guide you through that. Yeah. Whereas I would say if you're going to go for a legacy system and you're trying to, map against the business object level, and the system can't even handle a lot of that stuff because it's old and it doesn't do what you want it to do. That's the first reason why you moved away from it. Then maybe you would just want to go for the whole system. Yeah. And just say, okay, anything older than 20 years in the system, we can just safely dispose of. Or all the data in the legacy system is now 20 years old. Let's just sunset the system once and for all. So you can kind of choose, yeah, where you have like broad controls or focused control, precise controls. You would, with a broad system, you just need to give a description of the system and a broad description of what kind of records are in there. Whereas with the, on the other end of the spectrum, with the structured system, where you have a lot of business objects where, compliance also depends on those business objects. Yeah. So think about a Workday system. It will have candidate records. It will have employee records. Yeah. And there is just different rules for the two. And in your schedule, it has different retention periods. Yeah. So you also need to go down to that level. I still have people coming to me and go, yeah, just this is the list of systems that we have. And they mention all their, material systems and all the, and then they go, by the way, can you tell me what the retention period is for Workday? And I'm like, okay, sorry, that's too high level. A privacy regulator would not be happy if I were to say everything 10 years. Yeah. So, or any other authority for
And
that matter.
what
Yeah, go ahead.
about like databases then? Like, like a PeopleSoft or a SAP program, and
Yeah,
is that,
yeah.
what
It's
about
that.
you
Well,
still?
you're talking about two very distinct ones. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so PeopleSoft, it's Oracle, right? So there, I would say it's probably at the table level because that's the architecture of Oracle, but it could be that they have made some changes, or you need a bolt-on solution for that. That's possible. SAP, you can go super duper granular, but it will stay always at the business object kind of level.
Mhm.
They call them info types or destruction objects, depending on kind of like what kind of module or tool you use to make it operational. But it really depends on the system. That's basically the answer.
But you are
Yeah.
kind of like that leave in place type thing, like not. move everything to SharePoint and then you can start doing this, or
Yeah,
just records and
it's
just create a
possible.
book.
Yeah, that's definitely I love a leave in place kind of setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just and I feel that it is starting to get possible. But yeah, you're
Well,
right. There are also a few vendors that are trying to solve that problem. And that's also, if it works, it
mhm.
works, guys.
Yeah.
That's it's that simple. Yeah. But I also believe that you need to go to the master, just because I don't want somewhere to be a copy of the data. I'm always worried if we kind of may start doing that there will still be a source somewhere, and that's how privacy regulators look at it. It's not. It's cute that you try to fix this and solve it, but there's still a copy out there,
Yeah.
and we care about all the copies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Got to know the why first. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then try to solve it.
So,
And can I
so
just add one more
yeah, good.
thing?
Yeah, yeah, good.
As Donda and a few of us want to sign up as beta testers.
Oh, nice. Let's do it. We'll reach out to you. Yeah. Thank you. We need testers definitely. So, okay. So, I think you have kind of roughly six categories of problems. Please enlighten me if you know more. But I think you have a structured system problem. I think you have an unstructured system problem like Microsoft. You have a legacy system problem, or, old stuff lying around. Nobody's responsible for it. Well, IT, right? That's what we tell ourselves, IT. And then we have box storage, of course. Let's not forget about that. And then we have proprietary systems, which you need to think of. And then we have backup systems, I think, which are incredibly important. I'm not going to talk a big deal of this. I think we could have a whole section on backup systems if you like. Then I'll prepare one. But I'm struggling with backup systems. Yeah, and I know some of our clients are. I love them and I hate them at the same time. So that's it. But let's dive into a few. But a lot of people are asking, like, where do I start? And I always say, start with a structured system in place. Yeah. Show your leadership it can be done. Call it a pilot. Start with HR, I would say. Um, why? Well, it's a high risk, a lot of personal data system, but it scores lower on the controversiality scale. Yeah, it's not your customer data. It's not where you make your money per se, or where you serve your purpose, so to say. But and HR is usually a really willing partner because they're already more compliance oriented. They need to abide by labor laws, tax laws, and everything. They're always afraid that they're not. So they're willing to work with you. Start there. Workday, SAP, whatever you have. Um, Map, and then from there start building. And what we usually see once people are done and like, oh yeah, we actually got it done and it was surprisingly easy. What shall we do next? And you have two choices, I would say. One is the go after your top 10 systems, and go for the big bulk of records and data. The other one is, you got your momentum with HR, so why not just fix HR? All the downstream systems, maybe upstream systems, and that you can then use as leverage to go to the other departments and say, "Hey, I got it fixed for HR. You're next now. No more hiding." Yeah. So of course, don't forget about the legal holds before you start. Always important. Never forget about those. And I always ask everybody, do you have a legal hold tool? Do you really know all your legal holds? Are you in control there? Do you know the custodians? Have you lifted the legacy holds? Lots of questions. And I hate to break it to the US. And if there is any US legal, I'm gonna offend you right now. I'm so sorry, but a legal hold issued by a district court in New York or whatever doesn't necessarily have to also apply to the records you hold in Fiji. Yeah. So it is think about the geographical scope as well of the records and everything. Um, so um, yeah. So structured systems. Um, you want to map the business object. I already kind of told that. I'm going to go a little bit faster here. But what you want to do is you want to basically go from, oh, this goes slow. Yeah, the legal retention obligations to the schedule and then to a executable purge policy. Yeah. And you will run into a few issues when you start to map. Yeah. Scope differences between the schedule and the system. Yeah. Um, the law says regular leave, sick leave. Workday says I just group those two called absence. Which rule are you going to pick? You have to pick one now. Data dependency. I want to delete A, but I cannot delete A without also deleting B, and A and B have different retention periods. What are we going to do? Because the rules are different. Triggers, yeah. Lawyers and legislators have wonderful ideas what the trigger should be. Sometimes they go end of fiscal year, and then system says, "Sorry, I don't know what an end of fiscal year is. Shall we just do date of creation or last modification, or in Workday's case, termination date? Kind of that's the vision of Workday to gear everything towards the termination date. You have to solve those, yeah, and those are the fun things that we want to solve with you, and actually show that, and that's the one of the governance elements that you can show to your leadership. This is my schedule. This is what the system requires me or allows me to do. This is what we decided, yeah, and this is the residual risk. Sign off here, please, and then hopefully everybody will be comfortable to just go ahead, yeah. Because no way you can change Workday. Believe me, I tried. I have some good news though. Although I don't see it per se. Yeah, we worked with Nimbly. It's a startup. They are former Kainos. Kainos is the original, but Nimbly built a solution for Workday to manage records in Workday. It's a beautiful solution. It works really, really well. They include filerskeepers in there, so you can finally have some control over Workday, because everybody always tells Workday you can't manage retention. Well, now you can, yeah. So big shout out to them. Let me know if you need more info. But they're doing all the Workday trade shows now, and everybody's loving it. So I didn't want to keep that from you. Yeah, in book storage, the barcode is only an address, of course. But you have to find a methodology around boxes. I'm not going to go too deeply into it, also because we don't have enough time. I think with the rising costs of perm out fees and all of that, I think now is the time to have a serious look at your books inventory. Yeah. So I'll keep it at that. You have legacy system problem, and you just need to have an honest debate there. Yeah. Don't try to automate things. Don't try to make a huge mapping and a automation that you can't implement into a legacy system, because it's just frankly too old. But don't hold on to those legacy systems forever just because you may want to use the data in the future. Yeah. If it's a low risk system, if the retention schedule has lapsed, it's time to go. Yeah. So use your retention schedule, and maybe map it at the appropriate level, and then just convince your leadership it can be closed down. IT will love it. It's a headache for them, source of risk and a source of cost, and other types of resources. They would love to close it down. Really, they'll be your biggest ally when you tell. And otherwise, take the data out, put it in a closed read-only archive, and sunset the actual system. Yeah, it's also a very good option, but make it secure. Um, Unstructured, of course. Again, we can talk about each topic probably in a separate webinar. But start with a stable place, yeah, and start going small first. Do pilots, show everybody it can be done. You have two types of problems when it comes to unstructured, and that is you have a legacy problem, you made a mess, and you have a future facing problem. How do we make sure we don't end up in a mess again? Yeah. But be in control here, lead the conversation, because if you don't, someone will vibe code that, yeah, because this is the place where you're most at risk. I don't think with the others, they will leave it largely untouched and they will look at you. But if with the Microsofts of this world, with the Googles of this world, they will actually, unleash their AI on it. And yeah, it will be 80% wonderful, 20% devastating for your company. Yeah. Um, and yeah, I think what makes a schedule purview ready, it is actually a lot of things, but let's start with just the golden standards. You have to arrive at what we within filerskeepers call a golden standard. Yeah. So what's the optimal retention period given all the countries and states you're in? And make one rule, because if you're in 50 jurisdictions, say all the states in the US, if you have 200 record types defined, that's 10,000 results. In theory, you cannot implement 10,000 results. It's difficult, but also Purview, if you want to upload that to Purview, it will say, sorry, I can only take the first 1,000 and then I will discard the other 9,000. So there's a limit on that. So you have to make choices there, just to go to a more simpler setup with maybe a couple of hundred. So yeah, I'll kind of keep it at that. We learned a few lessons, that retention is social technical, but I think it's time that you guys need a tool to kind of show the world and start managing that social point, the social aspects of RIM. The technical part, we're getting ready, yeah, because there's also a silver lining, of course. You can use that AI to do the work, and you can supervise and govern it, and you should. So if there's one skill, I think you need to get really well versed in it. It is that AI. And I do believe that you should go for a type of precision that matches the system, and you need to make progress, and that's what I'm trying to do also with where I said, like, choose your high risk systems or whatever in that one screenshot. Progress beats perfection. Yeah. um and to be honest, it is possible. I'm very optimistic that we can start really, really getting in control of RIM. So yeah, hopefully you will be with me at one point. And then yeah, what the kind of flow look like? Well, it's like you're onboarding your systems, you're profiling your systems, you choose the appropriate mapping level, and then you start mapping. Yeah. And then there are outcomes. You need to evaluate them, you need to make decisions. And so this flow chart will go on and on, of course. But those are just basically what we're proposing here. So if you want to learn more, reach out to us, please. I don't know if there are any other questions that we might still have 1 minute to answer.
I don't
Sorry.
have any more questions, but I'm going to take that slide for my, my inspiration to get away my hang in there,
Good.
kitty, and put that up there. I believe in you. Because one of the
Thank
biggest
you.
things we've had always is that return on investment. Try to really show our worth. So
Yeah.
having a product like
Yeah.
that is absolutely something that I like how expressed it like, the privacy field has something and the legal field has something, and we
Mm.
absolutely do
What
need
do we
something.
have? Yeah, yeah,
So, from my perspective,
right.
yeah, I'm a believer.
Yeah, all right, brilliant. Um,
Great, thank you so much.
oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks. I had a lot of fun. Sun is up now here, so that's good.
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right. Well, thanks everyone.